How are my kitchen peeps today? We are doing something a little different. I know y'all think I have just this, brain fix thing on pork because it seems like all I talk about is pork, all I cook is pork. I like pork. But I also love other things, and I love me some beef. And today, we are gonna cook some flank steak. So that is a 1.5 pound package of local pastured beef. And we're gonna make we're going to make a Mongolian beef, which is really good. It's a little bit sweet, kind of has a light glaze, so to speak. And as I was thinking about making this for supper, I thought, oh, what can I do with it? And I was like, ooh, I'll throw some broccolini in it, yum. And then serve it over some rice ramen, yum. I was gonna just do rice, but I thought, ooh, the noodles would be good. And I'll kind of thin the gravy out a little bit. It's gonna be good. So anyway, here's what we're gonna do. I have a couple of little packages of broccolini down here, which are just like little smaller baby broccoli heads. And I've cut these stalks off. They have pretty long stalks. See that? I cut all the stalks off. I'm going to put these in the freezer. As a matter of fact, I'll grab that bag in a minute and tell you about that. But I'll share that more about that. I'm gonna take these and throw them in my cast iron skillet and just kind of sear them, give them a nice kind of caramelization with some duck fat that I have, and then set those to the side, and then we'll start working on the meat. We'll slice the meat up real thin, cut it against the grain. I'll show you that. That's actually something I did in an earlier video talking about 3 cuts of meat. Then we've got some aminos, remember this? Match made in heaven. We'll have a little bit of our roasted garlic, got a little bit of coconut sugar. There's gonna be some of our green onions out of the freezer in our little packages, some fresh ginger. I'll show you how to clean that. It's kind of a pain in the tush, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. And it's super simple, super simple. So I'm gonna move over to the stove. This is gonna be a video, I'm probably gonna be start, stop, because I'm gonna show you a little bit of the meat and then I'll cut the video off and finish cutting it up so y'all don't have to sit there and listen or watch me cut up 1.5 pounds of meat, which doesn't take long unless you're watching it, and it feels like I might as well be butchering an entire cow. So anyway, but let me show you something else before I do that. I'm kind of excited. I've had a couple projects going on. Here's one. Can you see that? Those aren't olives and they're not dog pigs, which was kind of the first thing I thought when I looked in there. Those are raisins. I'm making raisin vinegar, and actually it's ready. I need to pour it off and drain it out. It's been sitting in this little fermenting deal, or this fermenting cap on my thing for not quite 2 months. So it should be really good. I'm gonna use it to marinate. If I had it all prepped, and if I'd been thinking, I'd put some in this because that would be really good. Use it for vinaigrettes, marinate some meat, make different sauces. I've never done it before. I'm excited about it. And this, I did these last week. Look at that. I am stoked. These I'm definitely going to bust into tonight with this dish. This is called cowboy candy. A customer bought some jalapenos from me and then to make this, and then brought me a jar, which was the sweetest thing ever, and I fell in love, which is crazy because I don't even like jalapenos typically, but these things are amazing. So she was also sweet enough to give me the recipe. So I got a bunch of jalapenos and made a batch. They've been sitting for a week. I'm so excited to get into those, and that'll be a perfect addition to this Mongolian beef. So anywho, that's kind of some of my fun stuff going on. But I'm gonna pause it. We're gonna move over to the stove because, like I said, I already cut the tips off the broccolini. I didn't want to, waste time with y'all doing all that jazz. And then we'll just sear them, give them kind of a nice little caramel, and then we'll get busy on the meat. So hang tight. Okay, we're at the stove, and I've had this layer of broccolini in here for about 2 minutes. And you can see it's just starting to smoke a little bit. See how it's getting, I've got it on high. Actually, I'm gonna turn it down just a tiny bit. See how it's getting kind of brown? So I'm gonna turn this over. And you could do this any way you want. You could steam it. That would be really good. roast it in the oven. I mean, just whatever. Blows your skirt up. Knock yourself out. I just thought, oh, this will be kind of fancy-ish. So I'm going to turn this over and let it get a little more brown. I had about a tablespoon of duck fat in here. I'm going to add a little more. But ooh, isn't it pretty? And then I've got like this much more. So just about the same amount in a second batch I need to do. And then that'll set to the side and we'll start working on the meat. Okay, this is the end of the second little batch. This whole step took like 6 minutes. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, it just no time at all. Hopefully you can hear over my fan. It's got smoking a little bit, which is not a problem. I just wanted to get it nice and browned. So I'm adding a couple more tablespoons of duck fat in there so we can get the meat added shortly. So I'm going to pause. We're going to go back over. I told you it's going to be a lot of back and forth. All right, now we're back over here on the prep surface, and I'm just going to get my broccoli. Listen to me. I don't know the difference in garlic and broccoli. I'm going to get my garlic prepped. It's a couple tablespoons-ish. These are just little pieces of broccoli still on my cutting board. Not going to hurt a thing, or broccolini. I'm having identity issues this afternoon, apparently telling what vegetable is what. So we'll get this all prepped and ready to go and stick it in this little bowl. And then I'm going to show you, in case you've never fooled with fresh garlic, goodness, fresh ginger, how about, how I do mine. And then, again, I won't make you sit here and watch the whole thing, but this is ginger root. So I have found the easiest way to do it is like this. Just get a spoon, and you want to pop these little knobs off and just scrape it like that. It's not hard at all, because usually you don't use a whole lot. Ginger is a very intense flavor. It's a hot flavor, believe it or not. And you don't want to use a whole lot of it. Or typically, you don't use a whole lot of it. So that's all you got to do. And then just start mincing it up. So I only need a couple of teaspoons. So I'm going to do that real quick. Mince this. Throw it in with my garlic. And then we'll start working on the meat. Hold tight. Okay, now we're back. Got my ginger chopped up. Minced up, whatever. Put my glove on, just keep my hand slightly clean. And the meat, the flank steak that I've got, is not 100% thawed out. I mean, it's pretty close, but it's not totally, and that's not a bad thing because it makes it a little easier to cut. So that's a little freebie for you. But what you want to do when you're cutting flank steak, excuse me, this is off the bottom of the cow. So kind of the underbelly, the muscle fibers running long ways. Excuse me, that frog I had for breakfast is getting me, I guess. They can be really tough if you're, cutting with them. So you want to cut against them and break them up. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to cut this in a little bit smaller piece to handle and just go like this. Dadgum, my knives need to be sharpened. Oh, that's horrible. I could chew through this easier. All right, let me go check my knife drawer and see if I have a better one. Hang on. All right, I got another one. It's a little better, but not much. The hubs is going to have to get busy. He loves when I ask him to do this. No, I'm teasing. He doesn't mind. He'll bellyache a little bit, but he'll do it. So that's all you want to do is cut it really, really thin. And I wouldn't worry about cutting them, shorter or whatever, because as you're cooking, I guess I could show this in video instead of hanging it way over here. Some of them will break up, some of them won't. That's all fine and good. But what we're going to do is just go through this whole 1.5 pounds, and I'm going to saw through here. Hopefully I'll get done before midnight. And again, with the meat being a little bit frozen, it helps cutting it, but it thaws super, super fast. And then once it's all cut up, we're gonna toss it in some arrowroot. Remember, as we talked about, where are you? You can't see me. Never use cornstarch, please. That is a garbage product. Get you some arrowroot. It does the same thing, but much better product. Get rid of that little chunk of fat. So anyway, that's what we do. So I'm gonna keep working on this. When you come back, I'll probably have a sling on from my arm being so tired. Ooh, this is fun. But anyway, it's not bad. We'll get this all cut up. We'll toss it in the arrowroot. Then it's gonna go into, well, we'll get the ginger and stuff. Oh, that's something else I meant to tell y'all. Flip this. Why does that happen every time I have a glove on? Okay, anyway, what I was gonna turn this up and say was, there's another thing you can use. You can always use powdered ginger, ground ginger. It's a lot stronger, so you gotta be careful with that. But there's another product, I carry it in my market, and I thought I had some here, but I couldn't find it, so I don't guess I do. But it's called ginger juice. The brand is The Ginger People, and it is amazing. It's like pure, straight ginger juice. That's a really good thing to use in lieu of fresh ginger if you don't have any. So I was gonna show you the little bottle. I don't have one, sorry. But I'm going to finish sawing up this meat, and then we'll move over to the stove and work through that. And we're almost done, believe it or not. This is a really quickie, despite my babbling around and my knife issues and my camera issues. So hang tight. Okay, after the little camera disaster, we're back. One of these days I'm gonna quit belly aching about my lack of camera skills, because that's just not what I'm here to do. My goal is to help y'all learn how to cook and love it. I don't care about cameras. I guess I need to, but I don't. Anywho, all right, a bowl with some arrowroot in it. And then I've got all the, I'm gonna turn this down, but I hope it doesn't fall. It's not gonna fall. It's not gonna fall, right? It's not gonna fall. Repeat after me, it's not gonna fall. Yow, there we go. Okay, so this is all our cut up meat. All we're gonna do, this stuff is like clouds. I mean, it's just so fine and poofy. So you're gonna put all your meat in here, and you just wanna toss it around and just give it a good coating. So super simple. And I tell you what, if you have kids that like to help, this would be a great thing for them to do. They might make a little bit of a mess, Mama, but it's okay. You can get a broom or whatever and clean it up, a dish rag. But it's such a great way to get your kids in the kitchen. And if you start them in the kitchen early, then they are way more likely to love cooking. My daughter's 32. God, I'm old. She loves to cook, and she's been cooking since she was little bitty. It's just how she was raised. And so she does it. She loves it. She's not afraid of it. She'll bust off into new recipes. And it's just because she was always exposed to it. So y'all, please, please, please do that. All right. So there we go. Our meat is all tossed around. It's got arrowroot on it. Just going to give it a nice little coating. And now we're going to move over to the stove, and we're going to put this in the skillet with the duck fat, hot duck fat, and then just kind of sear in single layers. That's where it gets a little fun, because you want to make sure you kind of have this separated. I mean, you don't have to be ridiculous about it, but you don't want to have a big glob, because you want to get that nice seared texture on there. Literally about a minute. Flip it over, do the other minute, or do the other side for a minute. So it goes really quickly, especially depending on how big your skillet is. And I didn't get my ginormous iron skillet, but I got my next ginormous one. Next to ginormous. So we're going to do that. Then we'll put our garlic and ginger in the pan, then the aminos and the sugar, and then add the meat back, throw in our broccolini, and we're done. Other than, my added on stuff. But it's such a tasty dish. Hold that thought, we're gonna move to the stove. Okay, we're back. I've got a couple tablespoons of duck fat in there. And you want to get the oil hot enough where it's just going to sizzle the meat. And I'm just going to, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to use my other hand, because I had to use two hands. I like to get my hands in my food. Maybe it's just a childish thing, but I've always been that way. I'd much rather use my fingers than a spoon, and I want to feel what I'm doing. Anyway, not that y'all care. Still got a couple of pieces of broccoli in there. Ooh, and I just tasted, off camera, a little piece of that charred broccolini. Wow, it is so good. I'm sure my teeth are probably black and green now, but it's really good. Ooh, and I cut that wrong, dadgummit. Just trying to hurry and got on the wrong side. Okay, so literally, this is going to sit in here for a minute. And I would recommend, don't do what I just did. Don't do as I do as I say. I would start from one end and fill the pan so you can turn from that end and go back instead of going all over the place like some kind of goofball like I just did. But whatever, it'll be fine. So we're just going to let it sit in here for a minute because you just want to get it nice and browned, a little bit crispy. We like our meat medium rare, like our steaks and stuff, so I'm not real concerned about it cooking super dark. Turn this down to about medium. There we go, here's our minute. You just want to get it a little bit browned. But if you like your meat really, really dark, then by all means, cook it darker. I mean, if you're a, excuse me, dadgummit. If you're a well-done kind of person, cook it well done. Whatever floats your boat. But I promise, if you try it this way, you'll like it. It's really tasty. This is going to be good when we get that glaze kind of stuff mixed in here. It's going to be tasty. Ooh, and with the broccolini and over the noodles. Oh, I can't wait. And with some of that cowboy candy on the side, I may have to do a little partially boiled egg and throw it on there. Ha! That'd be pretty good too. Give that goodness. Give that broth kind of a milky texture with the egg yolk. All right, another minute. Look, I'm gonna show you something. Look at that mamma jam. That is a goose egg. That thing is crazy. We had them for breakfast this morning. It was good. I mean, it tastes just like a chicken egg, just a lot of yolk. So it was intense, but it was good. Got those from one of our farms. All right. I'm going to pull this out. And even though maybe some of y'all are going, oh my God, our meat's raw, it's going to go back in here. So you don't want it 100% cooked, because you're going to put it back in the glaze and let it cook for just a little bit longer, and that'll finish it up. All right, let's see. And I still have enough. Oh, I'm not doing that very well. Still have enough grease in my pan. I don't have to worry about adding more duck fat. Ooh, duck fat is awesome, y'all. I had a couple of bottles of Epic brand, another really super good brand of lard and duck fat and tallow and those types of things. They make little bison bars and beef bars and all kinds of pork and turkey and all kinds of stuff. But I had some of their duck fat, and I have used it to fry chicken, which is amazing. To, what else did I do with it? I fried some fish. And something else. I don't remember what the other thing was, but I did another thing in it, and it was so good, and I just strained it out real well, stuck it in the fridge, and thought, you know, it's still good for another couple rounds. I wouldn't deep frying it, but doing something like this with it, heck yeah. It's not an inexpensive product, so you want to use all you can. All right, so this is going to take me about 3 batches. So I think you get the feel. Lay it in there, give it a minute, turn it, give it a minute, next batch. So I'm going to let these go, not make y'all sit here and watch this, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of finish out. Okay, we're back. Just took all the meat out. Now we're going to put our ginger and garlic in here. And I will tell you, I should have cut my ginger up a little better. I was trying to be quick and didn't mince it quite as much. I mean, it's going to be fine, but it just would be better if it was minced a little finer. But whatever, it'll be good. So this just needs to, you just want it kind of to get fragrant. So, I mean, literally like 15, 20, 30 seconds, something like that. And if you have fresh garlic that you've minced up, that works just as well. I'm just a roasted garlic addict, so that's pretty much all I use. All right. And I tell you what, I'll show you the meat. See, that's what you want it to look. Hopefully you can see that. See how it's kind of browned and caramely looking? Ooh, it's so good. God, that smells good. All right, now we need a cup of water, a half a cup of water. Pour it out in a pitcher. It'll be easier than going to the sink. And we're going to do a half a cup of aminos. So as always, I'm going to do half and half. So I'm going to do a quarter cup of liquid and a quarter cup of coconut. See my coconut? And it smells really, really good. All right, so there's my half cup of aminos. If you use soy sauce or tamari, those are obviously perfectly fine. Ooh, see how big my ginger is. Whoopsie. Oh well. You know how it goes. My kitchen, do what I want to do. All right, and then we want to put our sugar in here, coconut sugar. This is 3/4 of a cup. You could do less if you want it less. That's perfectly fine. I think this is a good amount. It gives it a sweet enough flavor and kind of helps thicken up the glaze. And it really is good to offset the broccolini because it's got a little bit of a bitter taste. So that works really well. And I thought about something a minute ago. I have some sauteed mushrooms in the refrigerator. I'm going to get those out and dump them in. So it's going to be mushrooms and broccolini with the flank steak over the brown rice pasta or brown rice noodles. And I may throw a boiled egg in there. I hadn't decided. This smells amazing. All right, so you want to bring this to a boil, put your meat back in there, get it stirred around real good, and add whatever vegetables, your broccolini. Like I said, I'm going to put my mushrooms in here, and then it's ready. One thing to note, if your sauce is kind of thin, you want to bring it to a boil and then it's going to thicken up. But if it doesn't thicken up enough for you, you can take about a teaspoon of arrowroot, mix it in with a teaspoon of water, add it in there, and that'll help get it a thicker texture if that's what you want, if you want it more kind of thick as opposed to liquidy. But I think it's going to be just fine when it cooks down. Oh, y'all, it smells so amazing. All right, I'm going to get my meat added back in here. I just have a tray. Look at that. How pretty. Can you see? Eee, look how pretty that is. So my meat goes back in. I'm going to get it stirred around really, really well. And then I'll add the broccolini. And like I said, I'm going to get the mushrooms. I haven't got them out of the fridge yet. But I'm going to get the mushrooms and I'll add those in there. And it is literally ready to eat. I mean, this is it. It's done. Supper would be ready if I had my noodles done. And if my husband was here, he's up at the restaurant working on my stove because it's decided to be a pain in the tush. But I'm just going to put a lid on this and just let it sit off to the side. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn it off right now and let it just look at that. And how about we get this in here? Oh my goodness, y'all. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. Whew. I wish y'all could smell this because it smells as good as it looks. So there we go. Just kind of toss that around. You get the sauce on everything. I mean, you could put string beans in here. Whatever you got. Brussels sprouts would be awesome. Regular broccoli would be perfect as well. I just have the broccolini, so that's what I used. I mean, you could do zucchini would be really nice. Some red peppers. I mean, there is just all kinds of combinations you could do in this that once you get your meat, your Mongolian meat made, go for it. Serve it over. It's really good over basmati rice. That's really good. You could do some little bits of carrots in your rice and put it over there. It's really pretty and, you know, more nutrition. Oh, look, my son left the pantry door wide open. That's awesome. But it's going to be amazing. Amazing. I'll take one last picture when I get, oh gosh, this video is long. I'm so sorry. When I get everything in there and it's plated with pasta, just to show you what it looks like. But that's it. Mongolian beef with broccolini and mushrooms over pasta. Boom. Supper in a jiff. And you could pre-prep, cut up your broccolini, cut up your steak, mix your aminos and your sugar, cut up and measure out your garlic and your ginger. Have those things ready. And when you get home from work, it's like dump, stir, cook, and supper's on the table in no time flat. I mean, you could get this done in 30 minutes if your ingredients are prepped. Boom. All right. I'll snap back in with one little quick picture, and this will be it. Y'all enjoy, give it a shot, share, like, love, hug, snap, clap, sing, whatever. Do the stuff as we do on YouTube, and we'll see you on the next video. And there it is, the end product. Check that out. Already got my cowboy candy on top. Got our ramen noodles under there. And I almost forgot to put the green onion in, but I threw those in. You can see some of those. It's going to be amazing. Yay. Try it out.